Hey, okay. So we're doing this a little bit different. We're going to have our discussion that we would normally have, like this right now with me, and and that way I'm able to be here, say what I need to say, and you can ask your questions, and we can interact in the class about the material that we talk about in the video, particularly if you have any questions, and we can move this along. So for the past several weeks, we've been talking about three worldviews. We've been talking about the Puritans, we've been talking about the Native Americans, and also the settlers, pioneers, whichever. And here's the problem: we've we've got several pieces of literature that most of which you've read. You should have read them all, um, but they're all different, and they all particularly pertain either to Native Americans, Puritans, or settlers. And we've lumped them all together, and that presents kind of the problem. What's the big picture? What's the idea that we're gravitating to? So I'm going to try to help you out with that. First of all, desperate times call for desperate measures. I have props. Um, they're homemade, actually homegrown. So here's what I have. I have an orange. Oh, that's got the sticker. There, an orange. Got a peach and a banana. Now, all of which, let's see if I can hold them all at the same time. Yeah, all of which are unique, right? There's similar shape between these two, not between these two, right? But they're unique. No one would bite into this peach and confuse it for this orange, um, vice versa, or win the banana. However, even though these three are unique, they have certain similarities. They happen to all be fruit. They happen to all come from trees, right? If you didn't know they came from trees, get out somewhere, live a little, all right? Um, so they have similarities. They have huge differences, but they also have similarities. Okay, so let's take our three worldviews. Let's say the orange is Native Americans. Let's say the peach are the pioneers, and the banana are the Puritans. Okay? Now, those three worldviews are extremely different, but they have some similarities. Some of them are simple, like they have all at one point inhabited the land we currently call the United States of America, right? The Native Americans first, the Puritans next, and then finally with the expansion of the U.S., we have the pioneers. So that's a pretty easy one. However, there's some more subtle similarities that they have that you should be aware of. For instance, um, their spirit, right? America presents a unique opportunity, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. Um, but what kind of people would choose to come here, right? And that question goes throughout anyone who makes the journey here, because it's a journey. The Native Americans made a journey here. The Puritans did the same thing. So did the pioneers. All right. So what I'm proposing there is they share a similar character. They don't share a similar skin tone. They don't share a similar religion necessarily, but they do share a similar character, a driver, something that made them make that journey. So we'll talk about that in greater detail in a second. All right. So what I'm wanting you to do is to see each one individually, right, for who and what they are, but also be cognizant, be aware, be able to understand their similarities, because those matter. It's a comparison contrast, right? Now, with that comparison contrast, we also have the documents that you've read, right? Some are primary sources, right? The Chief Joseph speech, that is a speech made by an Indian chief. That's a primary source. It tells us what they were like from a first-person perspective. The person who had that perspective is the one who wrote it. Take The Last of the Mohicans, the movie you watched, right? That would be a secondary source. That's someone who wasn't a pioneer, wasn't a Puritan or a Native American, who wrote about that time period. That's a secondary source. That's finding out about those people through the advice, wisdom, knowledge of someone else. All right. So those sources are what give us the information about our three different worldviews. Okay, so we're going to put that to the side for a second. Okay, like, see, you like that? All right. So we're going to talk about each one individually. All right. For that, we're going to try some unique stuff here, and don't freak out.